In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a system that creates custom email outreach campaigns in seconds. I was able to send completely personalized, researched messages to hundreds of qualified leads in just a few minutes using Claude, N8N, and Airtable. Now, I'm using this system to reach out to accredited investors on behalf of fund managers, but you could truly use this to build any kind of outreach campaign. The immediate result of this advanced customization was a 7% reply rate, which is 3 times the industry average, and a qualified meeting on my calendar within 2 days of launch. I truly believe systems like these are the future of cold outreach. Let's dive in. So I've been able to get 4 warm replies and 1 meeting on the calendar within 2 days of using this accredited investor outreach system. I already had the meeting. It went great. We have a follow-up scheduled for next week. It will likely turn into a consulting engagement. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the system works. I'm going to show you step-by-step how to build it and provide all of my templates completely for free in the description below. Hey, my name is Josh Martin. If you don't know me yet, I run a consultancy and agency called AI West, where we help founders and investors scale lean without necessarily adding headcount. If you're interested in building a system like what you see in this video or something else, feel free to book a free call using the link below. Okay, so why did I even build this? So I work with a lot of institutional investors, and the number one problem they face is finding accredited investors and other folks willing to put money into their projects. Getting money and investment to do more projects is the number one way that these folks generate revenue. So I started thinking about how could I solve that problem more effectively. And one idea I came up with was starting to build a community of folks who are interested in alternative investments and other ways to deploy their capital. So the first thing I needed to do was create a system where I could reach out to these folks at scale in a personalized manner without just spamming them, making sure they know I've done my research on them, that there is a reason I'm reaching out, and that it would be a good idea to take a meeting with me. So doing this kind of work manually is something that very few institutional investors or other types of solopreneurs are really going to be able to do consistently. It's going to take a ton of time, it's going to take a ton of effort, and there's just too many other things to do. But we can't really just send out thousands of generic messages a day. That's just going to raise spam flags and going to get really low reply rates. So what's the solution? Using AI to personalize messages at scale is a way to drive up reply rates while not necessarily spending a ton of time on your outreach. So with that, let's jump into a brief demo of the actual system. Let me show you how it actually works in practice. So I'm here in Claude, and basically I have a personal assistant that's sort of my catch-all for everything in my business. It's connected to all my tools. It knows tons of context on my business, my ICP, and who I'm targeting. And essentially I've created a workflow in Claude where I can simply type in, let's generate a search body for list builder targeting accredited investors. So if you're not familiar with creating Claude projects, you can basically put anything you want in your project instructions to make sure that the project has context on the types of tasks that you're going to do with it. In this case, it knows exactly what the list builder tool is. It knows how to call it. It's just going to ask me a couple of questions to see like what profile do I want to target today. So you can see it said exited founders, active angels, tech executives, real estate investors, doctors, dentists, or just cast a wider net. I'm going to say exited founders for this one. I've also instructed my Claude project to always talk to me like a cowboy, which is not a requirement for this project. Okay, so it's asking some more demographic information. Let's say any exit, US-based, SaaS. Okay, so it's calling the list builder tool. So we can actually toggle over to N8N, and we can see there's an active execution running here. Okay, so you can see some leads are starting to appear. Let me sort these by, looks like they appeared on the top here. Internal notes, this is what the AI put as like its qualification rationale. So seasoned SaaS founder, CEO, sold a company. So this is looking for exited founders. So definitely capable of writing 100+K checks. Looking at another one here, 6-time CEO and serial founder with significant exit experience. Participated in exit at companies valued $4.4 billion. So seems like it's doing a good job of actually producing high quality outputs here. It tags them with their investment categories, check size range, as best as we can ascertain through a LinkedIn profile. And then if we toggle over to Instantly, the end result of this is that we have a bunch of quality leads that are being sent over to Instantly with personalized messages. So if we actually look at Instantly, we can see the result of one of the messages that landed a meeting. So, hey Kyle, saw your on-demand webinar with TNT Dental, unpacking what drives dental practice valuations today. The focus on the why behind valuation really stood out. Not amazing, but also pretty decent personalized message that lets the prospect know we've done our research. There was a specific reason we wanted to reach out to them. And then I have a canned section that's essentially describing my free community that I'm hoping they'll join. And then you can see the response. So, hi Josh, happy to have a conversation about the below. Let me know sometimes next week that would work for an intro call. So great, we scheduled the call, we had the meeting. It was a really high value conversation. And then we've got the rest of our warm replies tracked here in Instantly. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how the system works and the end result. Now let's dive into specifically how we built this. So first and foremost, we have a Claude project, which I told you is prompted to create sales nav search bodies, which basically is just an input of search filters that we send to Sales Navigator to get some lead results. And the way that we've set that up is via an MCP server here in N8N. And the MCP server setup in N8N is extremely easy, which is awesome. If you click on this node, which we can set by clicking add another trigger, other ways, and MCP server trigger, that's how we added this. We can basically click on this and it's going to give us a production URL. You just have to copy and paste that URL, head back to Claude, and then you can see this is where I've configured all of my MCP endpoints. And if you click Manage Connectors, you can add a custom connector, name your MCP endpoint, copy, paste in the URL, click Add, and that's literally it. You restart Claude, it's now connected to an MCP server in N8N. And once you're connected, you can connect any tool you want to this MCP server. And in my case, I connected it to a subflow trigger. And basically this is just a trigger that can trigger any N8N subflow. And that's the only tool I've connected to this particular MCP server. And that connects to this subflow, which is in the same workflow panel here in N8N. And you can configure it to accept any input you want. But you can see in my case, I've connected it to a sales nav search body, which is getting sent from Claude based on what kind of investor persona I'm targeting, and then the persona description. So basically it's just saying, here's the sales nav search we want to perform, but here's the results that we actually want to get from that search. From there, we have our get prompt node. If you've seen any of my videos, you know I like to put all my prompts in Airtable so that I can easily edit them anytime I want in Claude. And if we toggle over to our database, you can see where the prompts are actually stored here in Airtable. And this is the particular prompt that we're pulling here. So if we click into the prompt text, it's the prompt. So you are a research agent for AI West. Your job is to find, oh, sorry, that's not the one. The prompt that we are using in this case is the list builder prompt. And if we click on the prompt text, you can see you're an expert qualification agent for AI West Capital Network, two-sided marketplace looking for accredited investors. Your job is to evaluate LinkedIn profiles scraped from Sales Navigator and determine if they are a match based on the target profile criteria provided by Josh. So you're really just taking a target profile description and then you're matching that against an incoming LinkedIn profile. And that's a very simple task. So I've actually configured it on a very simple model, which is GPT-5 Mini, very cheap to run. You can just run this on hundreds of LinkedIn profiles for like a few bucks. And then you can see the input that I've configured for this is the persona. So this is our target profile. Look, we're looking at exited SaaS founders, US based, overview, investment profile, and then the actual lead. So this is the lead it got. And it's basically just matching these against each other. Does this guy look like this target persona? And it's a very effective way to screen out disqualified contacts. So basically, reviewing back to our workflow, we've got the get prompt. This is where I'm setting my ID for Unipile, which is how I interact with LinkedIn You can literally perform any action on LinkedIn using the Unipile API, which uses the LinkedIn official API. So I've never had an issue with like bot detection or anything like that. So it's going to do a sales nav search using a specific endpoint that you can find in the Unipile docs or in this template that I'm going to share with you. And it's using my Unipile API key, and it's performing that LinkedIn search using the search body that the Claude agent set for me. And then you can see it got a bunch of results. It's just showing them in a big old page of results. And most importantly, it's sharing a cursor, which is saying, hey, this is the first page. You're now on page 2 of results. And that's going to become important later on. So once we pull out the results, I have an if node saying, if there's no results, just end the workflow. If there are, pass it on to the agent. Then we're going to split them out so that the agent processes them one at a time so that we don't hit rate limits or timeout on like too large of an input. And then the agent is set to batch process these. So it's going to look at them one at a time. That's why it took so long, is it's looking at 20 results one at a time, making sure that they're the correct profile. From there, we have a code node that's basically cleaning this. So saying anybody who's disqualified, just screen them out. I just want the ones that are qualified. So you can see out of 20 profiles, it selected 8 that we are then going to reach out to as qualified investors. This is basically saying if there are results that are qualified, send them to Airtable. If not, let's skip this step and move on. So this is just creating those records in Airtable. It's just in a creator update node. And then that's what was triggering the results to appear, as you saw in our Airtable database here. And this is where all my qualified investors show up, and this is my outreach list. So this is going to get pulled into my next workflow as all the folks that I'm reaching out to. This will then set the cursor and update the cursor in another Airtable database, which I have here in my list builder table. And this is all the different sales nav searches I've run. I save the body here, I save the persona description, and then I save the cursor. And that ensures that basically I always know where I am in my scraping. So this could take hours. So if like the workflow times out at like page 10, I want to make sure we don't just start over. I want to start at page 10 and keep the scrape going. Then finally, after we created the record, we hit an HTTP request, which this is where it gets kind of fancy because N8N has some quirks. Like it doesn't like long workflows. It'll time out after an hour if you just leave it running for too long. So rather than doing it that way, I actually have it's modular. So it's going to actually run these workflows over and over again in a loop. And the way that I do that is by sending this HTTP request to a webhook. And I'm sending all of my inputs. So my current cursor, my sales nav search body, my persona analysis, and my ID of the specific sales nav search body that we're working with. And then that's actually just going to send it to another internal webhook right here in the workflow. And it's taking almost the exact same input as this subflow. It's updating my search body with the next cursor using code. And then it's just getting the same prompt, it's basically doing the exact same thing, but this time we're scraping page 2. And then page 2 is getting sent to this AI agent with the same prompt to qualify. All the qualified leads are getting dumped into Airtable, and then we're triggering the exact same flow again, and we're just running in a loop. So again, this can take hours, but eventually what you end up with is hundreds of new qualified leads. And it's a very effective way. I've noticed by using this qualification method, I get such better replies because we're targeting the right people. We're not just leaving it up to chance. And usually I just have it run overnight or something like that. So don't just like wait for this to run, just trigger it. And then you can just have leads appearing in your Airtable database throughout the night. All right. So next we have our actual outreach workflow. So between these two workflows, is our entire personalized outreach engine via cold email. And basically with this one, you're just scheduling it once a day. I have it run at midnight. And basically what we're doing is we're just grabbing all the new leads that list builder tool has dumped in. So anybody who their status is not contacted and there is not an empty email. So there's actually an email there. And basically we're grabbing today's date. We're grabbing the prompt for this particular agent. And the prompt is in that same database. And this one's called Accredited Investor Outreach Agent. So your role, you're a research agent for AI West Capital Network's investor outreach. Your job is to find something personal about each prospect, if possible. But if you can't find anything, just use a simple generic opener. Don't fake personalization. So these agents tend to work best when you give them really simple jobs. Very simple. All you have to do is find one personal thing about each person to create that personalized opening line. The next thing we have is a loop over node, which in N8N just allows you to process leads one at a time. So let's say we pull 100 leads. We're just going to loop them over and over, process one lead at a time. This is an HTTP request to Appify. Appify is a great service, which I use for all kinds of things, but they have like all these community built scrapers and all these great tools for this type of automation work. And this one is calling a email verifier endpoint. So basically this will just ping the email, make sure it's deliverable, make sure it's not going to get bounced. And it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it helps us to screen out a lot of bad emails. And anything that's not deliverable, I'm just deleting those. I'm not trying to find the email. I'm just deleting those from my records. And I'm sending only deliverable emails to Instantly. And Instantly will stop your campaigns if you're hitting too many bad email addresses, because bounced, they don't want you to end up on like a spam list. So bounced emails will do that. So I try to screen them out before I send them to Instantly. This is one of many great reasons to use N8N to own a lot of your like processes, to own your database tracking, to own your bounce detection, and then to own your personalization, because Instantly charges for almost all of that. So using it in N8N makes it a fraction of the cost. So next step, if node, to say, was this deliverable? If it's not deliverable, we delete it. Then we send it to that agent that's going to create the personalization. And that agent has access to two tools. One is the LinkedIn Actions subflow. And I've shown this in other videos, but this is how I do all of my actions in Unipile. The agent knows to send what action type it wants to perform. The switch node then will send it to the right action, and it will do that request in Unipile. So we can send DMs, we can make connection requests, we can comment on posts, we can do all of that via this subflow, and it's pretty effective. The other tool it has is Tavily, and this is another similar subflow, but this one's for web scraping and research. So you can do searches, you can do extracts, you can scrape websites, and it's the same thing where the agent sends what type of action it wants to perform, and then it gets sent to the right Tavily action. Once we're done with that, it's going to clean the agent output. You almost always need some kind of a code node or a parsing node to clean agent outputs, just how they're built. And then it's going to send that clean JSON to Instantly. And N8N has a bunch of native Instantly nodes here. I'm just sending my lead to a campaign, and I'm sending custom variables for almost everything. And Instantly is great. It makes it really easy to do this, where I can send a custom subject and a custom message for each Instantly sequencing step. So if we toggle back to Instantly, it's kind of funny. What I have here in my campaigns, if I look at my sequences, is each step is actually just a custom variable. So custom subject 1, custom message 1, custom subject 2, custom message 2. And that just makes it really easy for me. So I can have AI personalize each individual message, and then I just send those custom variables in Instantly. So each lead gets its own message. And then, yeah, if I have step 1, Instantly handles all the sequencing, which is really nice. I don't have to do that in N8N. Basically, it will send that first message immediately, and then it'll send the next message every few days. And Instantly is great because it will kind of do some creative things to make it not seem like a spam. You're sending out spam. It'll stagger the messages. It will rotate your inboxes. You can see I have 5 inboxes set up for me, and it will rotate those based on which have like the best health score, so which have the best deliverability, and it's just going to intelligently do all of that for me. It also warms up your email addresses for you, so you can just have them warming for a few weeks before you use them, and the deliverability has been really good. I'm very happy with the service. It also sets up your like unsubscribe links and all that good stuff for you, which is something that you legally have to do. So I just preferred to outsource a lot of that to Instantly. I could build it myself, but it would just take a lot of time and it's not that expensive. So once that's done, it's just going to update the record status and it's going to say this investor has been reached out to. So it's just going to update the stage right here. So not contacted or reached out. And it's going to tell me my first outreach date. So I can do all my campaign tracking right here in Airtable. And I love Airtable. So I just prefer to do everything there. And then I own everything. So that's basically it. With this system, we can reach out to thousands of leads, completely personalize each message, and really spend less than 10 minutes every single day on this type of outreach work. The goal of this is just to see those warm replies and those meeting requests come into your inbox every morning and not have to lift a finger on manual personalized outreach. If you're looking to build something like this yourself, feel free to use those templates below as a starting point. If you're looking for help building a system out like this, feel free to book a free call using the link below. Hope this was helpful. Look forward to seeing you next time.